What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back. Today, I'm here with another book from the Booker LongList. This one also actually made the short list. Let's get into it. Okay, that book is Flashlight by Susan Choi. This is the first book that I've read by Susan Choi. Actually, every single book on this list, I've never read a book by that author. So these will all be the first books that I read by all 13 of these authors. But again, the first book that I read from Suzanne Choi. I know she has other books and people really, really, really like her book, Trust Exercise. Haven't read that one, but I heard it's great. This was great. Spoiler, this book was great. That's how I feel about it right out the bat. Let me tell you what it's about first. First of all, this book follows Louisa and Cirque, and I throw Tobias in there because, like, yes, but not as heavily as the other three. So it follows this family over decades, okay? It spans decades, and each of them get their time to be the narrator. And you just see, like the situation or life from their perspective. So what happens is the book starts out with Louisa and her father, Cirque, were on a beach and her dad goes missing. So, you got some people saying that he died, some people thinking that he didn't, but decades pass by and you just get to see like what happens. So it starts off as like historical fiction. It starts off like this family saga, and then it like morphs into this like mystery type book. And then it's also in the literary fiction space. So it's like part historical fiction, part mystery, part lit fic. And it's good. It's good from what I got from it. I enjoyed it. It's really, really good. Like I said, you get to see Louisa's perspective. When the book first starts off, she's a little girl. You get inside of her head. You get to hear what she has to say about the whole situation, what she think about her parents, teachers, school, her psychologist at the time. You get to see her mom's perspective, and you get to see Cirque's perspective, who's her dad. And it makes you think about a lot of stuff. Another reason that this book is considered historical fiction as well, but another reason that I liked it is because you really get a good idea of the political relations between North Korea, South Korea, and Japan, which I liked. I found very, very interesting, and it was rich in history in that way. And just like what went on around the war, what happened with migrants from one place to the next, prisoners of war, what happened in these camps, like where they had these relearning camps, like what happened when you fled, just everything involved, the families involved. So you get it's really rich in history without being like too much. Like it wasn't too much. It was it was at the perfect amount that I wanted to get. And yeah, so another thing about this book, none of the characters are likable in a traditional sense, but they're dynamic. They bring a lot to the table. They all have like duality. Like they got sides where you can kind of be like, yeah, I see that. And then they have sides you can't get behind. And then you then jump to the next narrator and you kind of see how they're looking at the situation and how that's kind of interesting and plays off of the other person's narration. So that was cool to see. One thing I kept finding myself thinking about, like there is tension. There's a lot of tension in this book between like Louisa and her mother Anne, between Anne and Cirque, between Cirque and other people, between Anne and other people, between Tobias and like other people. There is tension in this book. And what I found myself like constantly going back to, like, yes, I was thinking about Louisa and the mother-daughter issues between her and Anne. But more than that, I was thinking about Anne and Cirque as like a married couple with a child. I was thinking about those dynamics way more than Louisa and Anne, which I'm not saying is wrong to think about that, because I was thinking about that too when I was reading it. But I just kept thinking like, about parenthood and marriage in total, like how isolating and lonely it must feel to be in certain types of situations. Like when you really step back, like it's easy for me to think about a child growing up having feelings towards their parents because I did. It's easy for me to like understand Luisa's perspective because I could see it. Yeah, she was mean, but like her feelings were bigger than her age. She had to deal with a lot of stuff, grief, a whole bunch of stuff that she had to deal with at a young age where she really didn't have the tools, and nobody should have to like deal with stuff like that. But I was really thinking about Anne and Cirque. Cirque had this whole life and just so much stuff to deal with, seemingly by himself. You know, just everything like bottled up by himself. And then Anne had this like secret thing going on. It was just this whole thing. And I was thinking like, how many people like struggle every day because they like carrying stuff themselves, or like how many people are in lifeless, loveless marriages and they just like the one thing that's holding them together is their kid. You know what I mean? Or like, I don't know. It's just that's what I was thinking about. Like, dang, to not be able to share like your heaviest burdens with the person that you spending your life with. But yeah, it's makes you think a lot. It's this book was so well written. It was so well written. It was so well written. That was my favorite part about it. I was heavily invested into the story, and the ending was like it couldn't have been any better for me. Like I really, really enjoyed how this book ended. I enjoyed the journey that it took us through, how it like spanned over decades, like I said, and really like highlighted major parts that we needed to know. I like to see what Luisa's life looked like as she grew up, how Anne's life turned out to be, how Cirque's journey went, and Tobias. And I found it to be a really good book. Like I really enjoyed it. I'm very glad that I joined the Booker LongList book club because I don't know if I would have read any books on, on this long list if it wasn't for being in this club. And I would have missed this. I would have missed it. So I'm glad that I joined the club. Another good thing about joining book clubs, you find gems that you might miss otherwise. Okay? So yeah, that's it right now. So right now I've read Misinterpretation, Audition, Love Forms, and The South. And this is the fifth book from the Booker LongList that I read. And it's sitting at number one for me right now. Like out of those five, this is my favorite so far. I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't tell you about the next book I'm going to read from it. But as of today, this is topping the other four for me right now. Like this has been the most enjoyable read for me yet. So yeah, that's where I'm at, y'all. Let me know if you're reading any books on the Booker LongList. Let me know if you're going to read Flashlight. And I'm going to see you on the next one.